the Council Bluffs Community School District Board of Directors. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Ogres?
Present.
Mr. Minshaw?
Present.
Mr. McGlade?
Present.
Mr. LaFurla?
Present.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Arthur?
Here.
Mr. Kazire?
Present. As you are able, would you please rise with me to observe a moment of silence? Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up is our approval of our agenda. Is there a motion?
I would move approval of the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I can second that.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion to approve our agenda has passed. Followed by now the approval of our minutes from the work session and the workshop of April 9th and the special meeting of April 16th. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of the minutes as stated.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote on approving our minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion has been approved. Before us now is a time for public participation. Those who wish to address the board regarding agenda items or anything of concern at this time, take the podium and address yourself to the board. And those who have written in, we don't have any of those, but those who wish to talk before the board have 3 minutes if they wish. Seeing no one, we'll move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Murillo.
Thank you, Mr. Kozire. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Ostrowski to join me at the podium. We have 2 wonderful staff members that we're going to recognize this evening, and Ms. Ostrowski is going to introduce them, and I'll join you shortly.
Thank you and good evening.
Good evening.
Each month, as you know, we take time to celebrate the outstanding folks who work for the betterment of our students and our school and our community. Tonight, we have invited our March Employees of the Month to be recognized in front of you and for our television audience. First, I would like to invite Mr. Ryan Bogey, who is the Spanish teacher at Carter Lake Elementary, to please come forward. Here's what Ryan's nominators said about him. Senor Bogey brings Spanish classes alive through song, dance, actions, and much more. Students in preschool through 5th grade look forward to Spanish class and are active, engaged, and have fun learning. His students have continued to expand their knowledge of a second language through the program Senor Bogey has built. Ryan has served in a leadership capacity to bring trauma-informed practices to our school as well. The encouragement, pep talk, and reflective conversations that he has with several students each day has made a positive impact in their ability to meet school expectations. Ryan has also been instrumental in providing activities for staff as he hosts the coffee talks in his room on Wednesday mornings and has coordinated a number of other social events for staff. How fun. Ryan truly helps us achieve more. Congratulations, and I know you are joined here tonight by Principal Doreen Knuth and their fans. So Dr. Murillo, I would like to recognize them as well. Do you have any family members here with you? All right, welcome.
We're going to take pictures in the back?
Yes, you want,
Do the other step
Yeah.
here, and then we'll go back?
let's do that. Okay, our March support staff member of the month is Kayla Thomas, who's a paraeducator at Roosevelt. Welcome up front, Kayla. And you have your family and friends here as well, along with Principal Brett Abbott and Sam Kim Castellano. All right, Kayla is always willing, your nominator said, to share wherever needed, to help wherever needed, excuse me. She's very flexible with her schedule and works effectively with all students. When describing Kayla, they use the words dedicated, positive, caring, collaborative. She works well with both students and teachers, and it is obvious she strives to make students and teachers alike successful. She is simply amazing. Congratulations.
I thought about trying to take the bus or if I go home. All right, this is my Earth Day thing, and then it's when it's nice.
That's probably a good idea.
Get a little. Just needs like a little TV trailer. I don't figure it out first.
Well, you can do a little bit more than that, but not a lot.
Did the Schools Foundation sponsor the awards? Okay, did we mention that? Did we mention? Okay, right. It's so nice that we're able to recognize those staff members for their dedication and work that they do for the students of our district. And they also received a parting gift from the Schools Foundation that they were also given with their Star Award.
Thank you.
So, you bet.
That concludes our report this evening.
Now we move to our resolution portion of the board meeting. First up is setting a public hearing for the instructional support levy extension.
Move to approve the board secretary set a public hearing on May 28th, 2019 regarding an extension of the instructional support levy.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, before us we have the resolution that will approve setting the public hearing for the instructional support levy extension. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Ogres?
Yes.
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla?
Yes.
Mr. Minshaw?
Yes.
Mr. McGlade?
Yes.
And Mr. Kazire?
Yes, and the motion is passed. Now we have before us policies that we are reading for the first time.
I will move to approve the first reading of the policies as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
So I guess I just have a general question on the so in the substance-free workplace thing. Now that it's just added in, since they had legalized the cannabidiol for the state of Iowa, is there just any guideline for any like students that have that or anything? Because I know it's included if it's like
He's referencing
yeah
410.
410.
For employees.
Yeah.
Oh, substance, is there anything for students on that? That would come into the student code of conduct.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, come on.
So then, yeah. Anybody?
Yes, because Diane meets with the policy
That's-
committee for
yeah,
us and
I'm like,
starts
just
the review. So
Clarify that, because now it's questionable what is and isn't.
Well, actually, on Thursday morning, our committee meets for its final time this year, and on the agenda is that student policy.
Oh.
And Emily Warren, our compliance officer, checked on that, and since, it's our understanding that since there has to be a prescription holder in order to distribute, that it will not be allowed to be on school property.
This does not include physician-prescribed medical cannabis in any form, which shall not be kept on school premises.
So if I'm, say, in cancer treatment, and I am taking medical oil, because I've been told by people that that's really great, so I'm taking that. How is that treated as just medical cannabis under this definition?
No, and Tim, Mr. Hamilton, I had
Does
you
not
call.
include.
It does not.
Does not include
Oh, in any form.
physician-prescribed
That's correct.
medical cannabis.
Which shall not be kept on me.
That's
If I'm
correct.
taking that, I'm taking it at home.
Mhm.
Which shall not be kept on school premises.
That's correct.
Meaning they bring it in, they take it home.
That's
It is not kept on school premises.
And we
Oh.
checked on that to
Oh.
follow up, because we had a
Correct.
student.
Okay.
Like
that-
other medications that nurses keep in the office, they go home.
Thank
Yep,
you for
the
that
The
clarification.
guidance from the state, because you have, like Diane said, because you have to be a card holder, generally for minors, that's the parents. So they're not a card holder at a school, so we wouldn't be able to keep it at school because technically they're not a card
Not
holder. We're
theirs.
not a card holder, so we couldn't keep it for them.
But this is about work environment, which may be employees.
So I think you guys are talking about two separate issues.
Okay.
I think you're talking about substance abuse in 410, is that correct? Substance-free workplace?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one. What's the, is that the one
I
you're?
think that was the
No.
only one I was talking.
Okay, so you're
For
bringing
me.
up a student
They're
issue,
saying-
he's
Yeah.
bringing up
Can't have it.
an employee
Yeah.
That's correct.
concern.
And then you clarified that by saying it
Okay.
can come and then leave.
Yep.
Okay. For me, that's clarified, but
As long as they don't keep it on school premises.
yeah.
Okay.
Seeing no further discussion, we'll move to the vote. Motion to approve the first reading of the policies as presented. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Arthur,
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla, Yes. Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Dr. Ogres.
Yes,
Mr. Minshaw,
Yes.
Mr. McGlade,
Yes.
Mr. Kazire.
Yes, and the motion has been approved. Now we have before us the second reading of Policy 207, Board of Directors, Conflict of Interest. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the second reading of policy 207, Board of Directors Conflict of Interest as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay. Mr. Wilson, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. McGlade,
Yes.
Mr. Arthur, Dr. Ogres.
Yes.
Mr. Minshaw,
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Mr. Kazire.
Yes, and the motion has been approved. Next up is a denial of open enrollment. Is there a motion?
Be it resolved, the board denies open enrollment in for student A as presented in the packet.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, so explain this one to me. So this student, I take it we didn't like their reason being that it was close to their daycare for the other kids?
Mr. Hamilton?
Looks like it was on time, I just didn't know.
I think it wasn't submitted in a timely manner, but, Mr. Hamilton, the denial that you're requesting?
Yep.
Space available.
The denial is a special education
Oh, special.
student, and so there was not room in the program, which is reviewed by Dr. Fortmeyer, and so that's why it was a denial.
Okay.
It is strange there isn't better information on this as to why that is. I mean, it references their special education, it looks like they got in a timely manner, so, okay.
Yep. They
Yep.
did turn it in before the deadline.
did.
Okay.
However, the reason for denial is capacity, which is state approved.
Okay.
so where do we document that on this form?
It's,
Or where is that
It
documented?
was really hard to find.
Right.
it's actually not, I didn't think on this.
Where is that
It's a-
recommendation, I
It was-
guess is my question. Where is that documented?
Well,
On the form, Mr. Hamilton, where do you document the reason being for the denial?
You would sign a denial. I don't know that there's specific place on the form to let parents know, but we've already contacted the parents to say that our recommendation was
So
denied.
when,
is there a letter to the parents?
that's what I
Yep.
was doing, yeah.
So could
Yep.
we have that in the future to put in with the packets too?
Absolutely. We don't
Yeah.
usually send the letter because it's not
Until it's
officially
board
approved
approved,
until you have it,
right.
but we could put a draft of the letter in there. Absolutely.
But I guess my question is, where's the documentation from Dr. Fortmeyer stating there's no room in the program? Where's that in the board packet?
And, yes, that also needs to be included in the board packet with that. So my apologies that there should be some additional supporting documents.
We can do that moving forward, sure.
Yes. I don't know if Dr. Vorthman, do you have any additional information you can share on the denial here for the student? No, okay.
Yeah, so was that, so on line 15, it says, is your child currently being evaluated for special education services? Was that circled as a yes?
It looks like it's like there's almost two yeses circled,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they meant to include two or not. I had a real concern when I saw this form this year. It doesn't, and I've talked with Mr. Hamilton already, it doesn't seem as, like a professional document. It almost, Diane and I have discussed it. I know that it may be something that I have to totally recreate and get the state to approve, since it is that enrollment form, and this seems to be kind of, something that many districts around us use the same thing, but it would be nice if it was typed for me. It would be nice if it was a little more description included, and then the supporting documents. So we'll get that cleaned up before next year.
But just to be clear, the reason for the denial, excuse me, is insufficient space in the program, and that capacity is
That is
determined by the state,
That is correct.
not by the district.
No, we have a plan, and Dr. Vorthman and I have talked about this. So there is a subgroup that's coming together that will begin working in, he's gonna put some updates for you all in Friday notes, but they'll begin working in May, June, and we will bring back a revised district plan that has to be board approved, and then it's uploaded into the state system, into our reporting system. We call it CASA. And that's where it's housed, and it shows the number of students per teacher in every special program that we have. And it is important that we keep that current. It goes every 5 years, and we're up to update that this summer. And so we've been talking about that, because I feel like this is one area that can be a lot cleaner than what it is. But we are right now living by the standards that are in our current plan that is uploaded, that was approved 5 years ago.
I guess I don't doubt what we're saying here, but there is a receiving district area, says if denied, indicate the reason. Insufficient classroom space and appropriate special education program is not available, or both options, neither is checked. So it is incomplete, I guess.
Mr. Hamilton? So this,
Yeah, if on the form, I don't have it in front of me, but if on the form it's not marked, we will certainly mark it, but then we do also send a letter.
is this something that has to be approved this evening? Is this something that the district needs to receive this evening?
Not necessarily. It's more for the family. We've already notified the family that we're looking to deny. So we could do it at the next board meeting. We could clean it up and do it at the next board meeting.
I would like that. I
Yeah.
don't know how the board feels about it, but I would,
Assuming a motion needs to be made,
yes, please.
verbiage assistance?
Just vote the
Table.
current one down.
No,
No, because then that,
Yeah, vote to table,
then that,
who would need
Re-
to,
That
motion to
doesn't-
table.
motion to table?
So
I make
then
that
we can,
motion.
then at the next board meeting, we can bring it off the table.
I motion to table the current motion regarding
Motion to table.
student A.
Yes.
Motion to table.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion to table the current item. Is there any discussion? It doesn't, there is no discussion, sorry. When there's a table, there is no discussion, sorry. Before us now, we have a motion to table. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion to table has been approved. Before us now is the Madison, work done at, to be done at the Madison campus.
Move to approve bid number 19-015 for interactive flat panel displays in the amount of $136,500 be awarded to Kansas City Audio Visual.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I guess my question does the do these panels then follow? Nope. I'll give you a second. No. So then, do these panels follow the students back to Kern then, and then another set probably approved for Madison, and then go back to Wilson once that's finished?
Most likely, we will outfit the Madison campus with one set. Kern will return in the fall of 2020 to brand-new panels at Kern, and then a decision will be made about purchasing new panels for Wilson or reusing the ones that have been at the Madison campus. Our long-term plan is to expand the use of these across the district. So my recommendation would be, if finance allows, that we buy new panels for Wilson, and when we're done at Madison, that those be used in an elementary school or something like that. The expected life of those panels is around 8 years. So,
Are they touchscreen? Is that
they
how
are,
they work?
they are touchscreen. We evaluated about 10 manufacturers and came down to 2 finalists, and had these 2 different panels used in classrooms from pre-kindergarten through high school. Numbers of teachers evaluated them and then picked the specific panel that we're planning to use. The total cost of ownership calculation indicates that they are not less expensive than projectors, but about the same cost as mounting a projector on the ceiling, installing a screen, running the cabling, et cetera. Ends up being essentially the same amount of money as a flat panel display that is now portable and can be used anywhere in the room, and even combined 2 or 3 or 4 into spaces if teachers need to do that, which is part of what we've been trying to accomplish at the middle schools with configurable space, allowing them to set up their classrooms the way it works best on any given day.
So these are designed to be one per classroom or more than one, perhaps?
1 per classroom,
Okay.
which would be our typical configuration of a projector and a screen. The beauty is, one of the things that we're often asked by teachers is, oh gosh, I really wish we could move my room and put the screen on that wall. And it's cost prohibitive. It requires a contractor, a carpenter, an electrician, and somebody from our team, and can cost as much as $1,000 to move. These will just unlock the wheels and push it on over there. They're also wireless connectivity, so no wires running on the floor. Teachers will connect wirelessly to displays, as will the students, so they're very cool.
And then long range, I always fear, as much struggle as I have at work with connectivity between all the different devices at all times. I guess these have, we figure that we won't have some bug that wipes out all our monitors at one time or something crazy like that.
These devices are configurable, and the configurations are saved so that in the event of firmware malfunctions, they are reconfigurable with a jump drive and a little technician time. Like most modern devices, they download the firmware updates over the internet and stay nice and fresh on good, secure software. But when things do go wrong, we will have to service them like we did anything else.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, before us, we have the approval of the Madison Campus Classroom Technology bid. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Mr. LaFurla,
Yes.
Dr. Ogres.
Yes.
Mr. Minshaw,
Yes.
Mr. McGlade,
Yes.
Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Mr. Arthur,
Yes.
Mr. Kazire.
Yes, and the motion has been approved. Before us now is our consent agenda. We have several items on the agenda. One is the annual notification of student participating in practicum field observation experiences, the 2019-2020 IJAG Memorandum of Understanding, the 2018-19 Attendance Center enrollments, Preschool Community Partners Agreement, several special education contracts, personnel agenda, the March 2019 P-card transactions, and then as well as the March 2019 financials, and finally, the check payments for March through April. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I will move to approve the consent agenda as so eloquently presented. Yeah.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, before us now is the vote on the consent agenda. Mr. Wilson, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Arthur?
Yes.
Mr. LaFurla?
Yes.
Mr. Grove? Dr. Ogres?
Yes.
Mr. Minshaw?
Yes.
Mr. McGlade?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes, and the motion has been approved. And with that, we have completed our agenda items, and we are adjourned.